This is my 1990 Mazda Miata. It is a shitbox. I bought it originally with this very poorly done wide body that I took off. I'll put a picture in. Honestly, I started sanding it, and it got sat for winter time. It's super dirty. It's rusted out in the rockers, like every Miata is, especially in the Northeast. And they did like a shitty job cutting it and put foam and stuff in here and messed everything up. But I gutted it, and I still gotta finish. I have to completely fix some of the floorboards and stuff because it is so rusted out. They put like concrete or something in here. I don't even know why or what the kid was doing, but for the price I bought it for $3,500, and honestly probably wasn't worth it. I drove it around for a year. I put a few thousand miles on it. Honestly, I never had a problem with it before, besides one time it almost like caught on fire, but that's besides the point. And this rocker goes out too, as you can see. It's on some coilovers. I don't even know what they are. It's on these rotogrids that are too big. They're 16s. It's got like two big tires in the back, 55s on 40s. Doesn't make any sense. But I think the plan is to turbo the car and make it a drift missile, because it's the only thing it's really good for at this point. It's clapped out, if I'm being honest. That's just what it is. It has like 200,000 miles on the actual body, and I think for this interior I'm just gonna cut out some of that, fix the brackets, same thing on the side. Maybe make a little hole for a drain plug. Gonna put a new floorboard in there, and then I'm just gonna paint this whole interior wrinkle black, and then I'm gonna probably do some sort of little dash. I'm not gonna put the original dash back in. I have it in here. It's cracked in a few places in my little grandfather's garage, in this little cabinet. This thing is trash. I have just a few parts in here, but it's all cracked in some places. I think the plan is to take and probably do an over fender on the front and back, and then I'm gonna finish sanding it down, and then I'm just gonna primer the car. I think that's the best bet. And then I've never wrapped a car, and I think it's gonna be a good learning experience and a good car to throw a wrap on, because it really doesn't matter that much. And if I do a shitty job, then it's part of learning. That's just what it is. And I think I'm gonna wrap it purple, honestly, and sprinkle black the inside. And I'm gonna buy a 4-point roll bar. I have a Sparko seat here in the garage that I'm gonna put it in, and I'm an idiot and I bought the wrong brackets for it. These Sparkless brackets, they're not for the Miata. I have to buy the Miata, but this little sprint seat's gonna go in it. I have a little Amazon quick release wheel for it, but the plan is to drift it at Club Loose, Englishtown, and I might even do a video on going to the drift school just to get accustomed to the track. And I feel like it would be a cool experience with Chris Knapp there. He runs that school, and I think that's a pretty cool thing what he's doing for the community. He can get some of this rust off of here, probably sand it. This hard top, not just soft top, leaked a little bit in the corners of the door right in here, and then you could see it was obviously dripping down there. And in there, it was all rusted out. The brackets for the ECU was all destroyed, and speakers didn't really work on one side. The roller windows, this window is all scratched up. I think I'm gonna take it out and probably put in Lexan windows or something just for later. I'm just gonna make this thing as light as possible and just put a China turbo on it, CX Racing kit, you know, basic stuff just to make it drivable. So I remove most of the stuff here. Now I gotta remove this stuff to get to these 3 bolts in here. Let's see if I can pull this off and see how it looks underneath. Hopefully it's not terrible. Oh, that's ripped. This little screw right there. I didn't see. Well, that's what happens when you have 30-year-old plastic. You need to start pulling on it. Always breaking stuff. I think that's probably what I do best, is break things on this car, honestly. But I guess that's the only way to learn. I think the biggest thing I'm concerned about is not the fabrication required, because I have a few friends that will help me do that, help me learn how to do that. Never actually welded anything before, but first time for everything. And I just need to get this new handle for the welder my grandfather has, so I can use it. That was a lot easier than I expected, but I think the most concerning thing for me is the wiring, because it's just a mess, and I don't know all that much about wiring, and it's a little intimidating, but at the same time you kind of just gotta dive in and go for it. And I plan on getting a Mega Squirt ECU and plugging that in, and I'm gonna figure out how to tune that. That's gonna be a nightmare, but you know, I'm just gonna send it, honestly. If it blows up, it blows up. Then you'll see me rebuild it, or if I send a rod through the block, then we're just gonna pick up junkyard motor or something. This thing is dirty. Oh, just smack my knee. What is this? No idea. It's a coupler or something. That's pretty good, considering the rest of it. No spider guy. but I think most of it should come out. It'll be a little indented and eaten away in some spots like right here, but honestly it's not horribly bad. I think just like some wrinkle black paint, it should be fine. Let's take out these little seatbelt brackets. Next, I think it's only these 2 bolts that I can see. I don't know how this thing comes out. And there's like this factory plastic on this. It's really weird, and nasty, and no idea why it's on there. But it's a lot of pieces. Or it's like little spacers. Some weird stuff. Some Japanese engineering at its finest. Look at that. Wow. Thing surprisingly pretty clean for how old it is, but it's crazy they have this like plastic cover on them. It's kind of weird. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side, same thing. I just took off the cover showing the fuel pump and stuff, and this little line wasn't even on. Luckily, I don't think it was leaking ever. There's a little dirt and stuff in there you can't really see. There's a little lighting, but surprisingly, these lines aren't horrible. I don't know if they were replaced or if they're OEM. I really need to go and buy an angle grinder or something, because out of all the stuff my grandfather has, he doesn't have an angle grinder, so I can clean up this rust and corrosion on the floor, and then cut out some of the stuff that's just sitting here rotting away, and see if I can get some of this concrete or whatever they poured in there out, and they put some mesh and some terrible stuff. But also this strain plug is starting to rot away, and this bracket and the C bracket. But the rust, other than that, isn't too terrible. But probably need new bushings for this shifter. So I just vacuumed out a bunch of this little gunk and stuff that I scraped up. It's still not 100% perfect, but for now it's alright. I need to go over it with like a sander and stuff still. I'm gonna throw away. I don't think anybody's gonna buy that, but I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna try and restore that, get all the gunk off that. Those plastic pieces will go back in because I don't really wear anything. I think I'm gonna take out these records and the radio and stuff just to save extra weight, even if it's a little bit. But probably gonna keep the soft top for now, but just because hard tops are insanely expensive, and don't have the money to spend on that right now. That's just what it is out here, balling on a budget. So this video is kind of all over the place, but there's just like a bunch of little things I wanted to get done. I wanted to finish taking that stuff out of the interior, stuff right here, but there's not much else to take out besides like a little piece of carpet and whatnot. But I need to really get the angle grinder so I can cut all those pieces out and then sand the stuff, and then weld these new pieces back in. I have a little welder over there. You can't see it from here obviously, but it needs, I think, a new feeding handle or something, my grandfather was saying. So this is the welder my grandfather has. He says there's something wrong with this handle, and the wires and the plugs all messed up on it. So I'm gonna try and order a new part for this whole piece in here. Not very familiar at all with welders or welding. I've never even welded anything myself, but I do have a friend who is going to school for welding, and I trust him, and he'll help me out. I'm sure he will. You'll probably see him in the videos a little later on once I get all the pieces and parts for it, so we can work on that. I really wanted to get this part sanded down today just because the surface rust starting. I don't want it to get any worse, and I'm just gonna sand it down with some 180 I have, and then go over it with 320 real quick, and then primer it just to prevent it from rusting anymore. So I just went over it with 180 real quick. I'm gonna go over it with 320, and then I'm just gonna primer these spots. So this little piece right here, the paint is chipping. The paint on this was like super bad. I think they resprayed it at one point, but there's so much just like, you can't really see it, like orange peel and flake, and there's so many chips and stuff, especially down here in this area. I need to go over all this too, but on the trunk you can kind of see it. Go over it like this. It's also super dirty, keep in mind. It hasn't been cleaned very well, but there's like little body repair spots and stuff, and they use Bondo all over this thing. But I would just get all new fenders and stuff, but I'm probably gonna wreck it anyways, so I don't really see the point in spending extra money on getting new fenders. I'll get the over fender kit just to cover it because it looks terrible, and it'll look good for hopefully a little bit until I probably hit something or someone. And this bumper, it had a Rocket Bunny kit knockoff on it, and the bumper is all chewed up in certain places, and it was put on very poorly. If you can see in here, it's all like zip tied on and duct tape, and it's not the greatest of things. Same thing with like the fenders were held on with like these little clips here and stuff. Like, it's just not done properly, and hopefully I can do it justice and make it look halfway decent from 30 feet away. So I just went over it, sanded it real quick. There's still a bunch of little imperfections and stuff, but I'm just gonna primer it for now to protect it, and then I'll go over eventually, maybe with a little bit of Bondo or a body filler or something of that sort, just to get all the little divots and stuff out. But it's gonna be over fendered anyways to hide all this stuff. I'm not gonna paint it. I'm just gonna over fender it, then wrap it, do my first wrap job, and hopefully it won't look terrible, but who cares. So I just sprayed over it, and obviously it looks terrible because it's all messed up and the fenders all messed up, but at least it won't rot away now just sitting here, because I don't know how long it's gonna take to get all the parts and stuff together. And when I'll get this thing running, the real timeline is hopefully I'll have it running and driving by summer so I can take it to the track. But if that's realistic, I don't know. But now I'm gonna work on this side. This side a little bit rougher. They put all kinds of like rivets in here, all kinds of dumb shit, but you know, it's part of just the clapped out life. Finished priming all this stuff to protect it. Obviously it's not the best, but it's whatever. But I am going to try and clean up some of the engine bay, just because it is absolutely filthy, and it needs a good clean. But the only really nice thing about this car is it is, even though it is a 1.6, it is swapped out to be a long nose 1.6, so it's the better of the 1.6s. And only bad thing is it has a lifter tick, but most Miatas have lifter tick. I think I'm gonna do a replacement on the lifter tick. Treasure Coast Miata, they carry lifters. They're not OEM, but they're good, and it's only like $100, and I'm sure I'll record doing that. But check out the little stand. We got the fishing pole stand. I do already have a fuel pump for this car. Got this little Works 300. I'll burn this, and this will support plenty of power for what I'm looking for. I'm really looking to make only like 220, hopefully, with a turbo on it. I'm gonna order the CX Racing kit. I don't think I'm gonna use their turbo. I think I'm gonna order a turbo from XP Rods. Hopefully it's a little bit better. They're both China turbos, so it's nothing special. But if that turbo blows up on me, hopefully it doesn't. Down the road, I do plan on investing in a Garrett, but that's just a little bit expensive right now. So that was all I was able to do today. I finished sanding those fenders and primering them, and then pulled some of the panels off on the inside. I need to get angle grinder and a few other parts in pieces so I can finish the inside, and then spray paint that wrinkle black, and from there work on the outside, finish sanding, primer the car, and then I need to order my body kit, have that come in, and I'll mount that up. But for now, that's it.